Today, we're diving into a topic that's as controversial as it is critical: how some evangelical leaders are using the recent assassination attempt on Donald Trump to push their own political and religious agendas. In the aftermath of this shocking event, we've seen a wave of responses from evangelical leaders that go beyond thoughts and prayers. They're framing this incident as a sign of divine intervention, a call to arms in the culture wars, and a rallying cry for their political goals. But why? What are they trying to achieve? And what does this mean for the future of American politics? In this video, we're going to explore the motivations behind these statements, the strategies being employed, and the potential consequences for both the political landscape and religious communities across the country. A significant religious awakening is on the horizon, one that will ultimately lead to the mark of the beast, forcing people to choose how they will worship and which side they stand on. Has the Republican Party aligned itself with God in these end times? As Joe Biden steps down from his candidacy and Kamala Harris takes his place, what does prophecy say about the future of America? Welcome, dear friends, to Memoirs of Truth. We hope you'll like and share this prophecy update. Bible prophecy indicates that there will be a union of church and state in the end times, where the name of God will be used to influence votes and draw people into spiritualism and false worship. Since surviving an assassination attempt on July 13th at a rally in Pennsylvania, Donald Trump is being hailed as a miracle by American evangelicals, who see this as a sign from Christ. According to international reports, this belief that Trump is the chosen one is likely to spread further among evangelical circles, reinforcing their conviction that God is protecting him. In the United States, the First Amendment of the Constitution establishes a separation between church and state, meaning the government cannot endorse or establish any religion or claim to speak for God. Daniel chapter 2 provides a timeline of the rise and fall of kingdoms, starting with Babylon and ending with the Roman Empire. Just as iron cannot be mixed with clay, the church and state cannot unite. Daniel 2:43 states, "As iron does not mix with clay, so they will not cleave one to another." Today, the Republican Party, one of the major political forces in the United States, has increasingly appealed to religious values. During the 2024 Republican National Convention, held on July 15th, God became a focal point of the party's platform. Pastors Franklin Graham and Lorenzo Sewell attended the convention, urging people to use their spiritual influence to support the party in the upcoming election. They combined political policies with biblical themes, scriptures, and prayers, blending religion with politics to sway voters. Last month, President Donald Trump visited Detroit, Michigan, where religious leaders urged the audience to glorify God and pray for Trump, citing biblical verses that encourage faith in Jesus Christ. This clip is a clear example of how religious leaders are intertwining politics with religion, mobilizing people to engage in the political process while claiming to speak for God, just as prophesied in Revelation 13. Prophecy warns that a day will come when churches will have the power to influence the state and create laws, such as Sunday laws, that dictate worship practices. This suggests that religious leaders will pressure policymakers to uphold their decrees, bringing us closer to the formation of the image of the beast during the Sunday law crisis. Joe Biden's decision to step down from his candidacy, allowing Kamala Harris to take his place, has accelerated the path for her to secure the Democratic presidential nomination. Meanwhile, a great awakening is stirring among evangelical Christians and the broader Christian world. An article published by Lacrosse International states that many evangelical Christians view Donald Trump's survival of the assassination attempt as a miracle performed by Jesus Christ. But is this really a miracle from Christ? Jesus calls us to return to the Scriptures, reminding us that regardless of who becomes president, America will speak like a dragon and enforce the mark of the beast. There will ultimately be only two sides: those who receive the seal of God and those who receive the mark of the beast, those who obey God and those who succumb to the pressure of Antichrist worshipers. Just as Cain and Abel offered different sacrifices, people will be divided by how they worship. If Trump returns to office, his primary agenda seems to be empowering evangelical and Protestant churches. The National Religious Broadcasters, NRB, an international association of Christian communicators, hosted Trump on February 22nd, where he declared that a revival is coming to America. He assured the audience that once he is in office, they will have the power to influence the country like never before, bringing churchgoers back to Sunday services. Trump's words align with a movement led by evangelical Christians seeking to bring about a religious awakening in America. They believe that government policies must be infused with Christian principles to restore moral order in society. Evangelicals are using the Trump assassination attempt to further this agenda, viewing it as an opportunity to push for policies that align with their religious views, such as Sunday worship.
As last-day events unfold, those religious bodies that refuse to heed God's warnings will be under strong deception, uniting with civil powers to persecute God's people. Protestant churches will join forces with the state to oppress those who keep God's commandments, fulfilling the prophecy that the church will appeal to civil authority, leading to a union between the Pope and Protestant leaders. While many evangelical leaders have rallied behind a narrative that links the assassination attempt to a divine or political mission, this perspective is far from unanimous within the religious community. Some evangelicals are pushing back, arguing that using such a tragic event to further a political agenda is not only insensitive, but also unbiblical. They emphasize that the teachings of Christianity focus on compassion, peace, and humility, rather than exploiting fear and division to gain political leverage. Critics from other religious groups and political circles are also voicing their concerns. They argue that this rhetoric risks further polarizing an already divided nation. By framing the event in a way that suggests divine endorsement of a particular political figure or ideology, these leaders may be alienating those who view faith as a personal rather than a political journey. This approach could also contribute to the growing perception that evangelical Christianity is synonymous with a specific political agenda, rather than a broad and diverse faith tradition. When we turn to the mainstream media, we see a range of responses to this narrative. Some outlets are quick to highlight the most extreme statements, painting all evangelicals with the same brush. This can perpetuate stereotypes and fail to capture the diversity of thought within the community. On the other hand, some media organizations might downplay or ignore the more controversial aspects of these statements, either due to ideological alignment or a reluctance to critique religious figures. As with many complex issues, the truth likely lies somewhere in the middle, and it's essential for viewers to critically assess the coverage they consume. Ultimately, while the narrative being pushed by some evangelical leaders is gaining traction in certain circles, it's clear that there's significant disagreement both within and outside the religious community. This underscores the importance of approaching such sensitive topics with a nuanced and open-minded perspective, rather than jumping to conclusions based on a single viewpoint. The narrative being pushed by some evangelical leaders in response to the assassination attempt on Trump is not just a reflection of their political and religious beliefs. It's also a catalyst for further polarization within American society. By framing this event as a spiritual battle or a sign of divine favor, these leaders are reinforcing the US versus them mentality that has already taken root in the nation's political landscape. This rhetoric can deepen the divide between different religious and political groups, making it even harder to find common ground on critical issues. The risk of increased religious extremism is another significant consequence to consider. When religious leaders invoke the idea of divine intervention or martyrdom in the context of a political figure, it can embolden more extreme elements within their followers. This can manifest in heightened rhetoric, more aggressive political actions, and even acts of violence justified by a perceived divine mandate. History has shown us that when religion is used to justify political actions, especially in times of crisis, the line between faith and fanaticism can become dangerously blurred. As for Trump's support among evangelicals, this event could have a reinforcing effect. Those who already view him as a divinely chosen leader might see the assassination attempt as further proof of his special status, leading to even stronger support. However, this could also alienate more moderate evangelicals who are uncomfortable with the idea of linking such a violent act to religious prophecy or divine will. Beyond the evangelical community, the broader public might view this narrative with skepticism, potentially leading to a backlash against both Trump and those who push this rhetoric. The association of religious fervor with a political figure could also contribute to the growing secularization of American society, as more people distance themselves from what they see as the politicization of faith. In the end, the consequences of this narrative could be far-reaching, impacting not only the political and religious landscape, but also the social fabric of the nation. The stakes are high, and the potential for further division and extremism is real, making it all the more important to approach this issue with caution and a commitment to fostering understanding, rather than deepening divides. As we've discussed, the assassination attempt on Donald Trump has been used by some evangelical leaders to further their political and religious agendas, a move that could have serious implications for both the nation and the faith community. We've explored how this narrative risks deepening political and social divides, potentially fueling religious extremism and impacting Trump's support among evangelicals and the broader public. The intertwining of such a serious event with a religious and political agenda raises important questions about the role of faith in public life and the consequences of using religion as a tool for political gain. It's crucial that we approach these issues with a critical eye, understanding the motivations behind them and considering the long-term effects on our society. I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you see this narrative affecting the political and religious landscape? Don't forget to subscribe to Policy Pulse Global for more in-depth discussions on the intersections of politics and religion, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.